Anyway, so this show, we are not going to be selling anything. There's some stuff in the buy nows. I was asked a question a while back in one of the shows. I believe it was either Steel City Boy or Mattingly who asked me what were like my favorite civil rights books. And then I went to go search the mental database, and I didn't have anything that was off the beaten path. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know the more popular ones and stuff, but I got the inclination that they were looking for a bit deeper than that. And sadly, I didn't have it off the top of my head. And as you guys know, I don't mind not knowing. What I hate is the continuation of the lack of knowledge. So we're going to fix it. Yeah. So let's get into it. I don't know exactly how we're going to jump in, but I think we're just going to jump over to ChatGPT. And if you guys, everybody in the chat, has a book they want us to look up or want to feel that I should be aware of, please tell me. I am teachable. It is like my superpower. I've always been teachable. From teachers who don't. Anyway, that's another story. So let's just jump in. What are the most popular civil rights books ever written and sold? Let's stick to America for the first part of it. Let's see what rabbit trails we can get down. So what's up, Sam? What's up, Agate? Super chill show. We're actually going to record this for YouTube, and we're going to put it up unedited. And I have no idea where we're going. Okay. Autobiography of Malcolm X. Letter from Birmingham Jail. These are ones that are pretty popular. So he literally wrote this as he was sitting in jail. We can kind of look into that. Oop, nope, that's not the one. Stride Toward Freedom. This is the King's account of the Montgomery bus boycott. Why We Can't Wait. Parting the Waters. This one I've not heard of. Taylor Branch, Pulitzer Prize winner. Often considered the definitive history of the movement from 1954 to 1963. Let's start there. See, I pulled up my sleeves. And again, if you're just coming in, this is going to be a weird show. I know no one uses Whatnot in this way, but I don't care. It's purely going to be like a podcast. We do have more auctions and stuff on other nights and things like that. Do follow. But we're going to just chat. And I know that's weird. I know people tell me all the time. They're like, why don't you just go to Twitch? I don't want to. All my book friends are here. So I'm going to stay here. Interesting. But yeah, we're going to do it different. I think the overall plan, just to talk business and shop, is I'm cleaning out my inventory and making sure that my marketplace listings are current and like ready to go. I have like 3,000 listings. And I know it's overwhelming when I bring them all into the show. They're hard to scroll through. You know what I'm saying? But I think I'm gonna make sure it's all clean, and then I'm gonna start doing this kind of show like 3 or 4 times a week is the plan, and just like look at it like opening up my bookshop. You know what I mean? Because let's be fair, if I actually owned a physical location, this is probably exactly what I'd be doing in the chair, hoping to talk to literally anybody that will listen to me. Anyway, you know what I mean? So what's up, Miss Heather? So I know it's weird. I know it's different. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but that's okay because it helps me too. Because the issue is when you process as many books as I do, this is an aside here, rabbit trails included, it can be difficult sometimes to just sit with the books. You spend so much time selling the books and finding the books and acquiring the books that you don't actually a lot of the times just to get to sit and flip through them. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of be one with the books. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is, as much as I hope you guys enjoy it, this feeds my soul. Do you know what I mean? This lets me like keep going. So when I do the 600 book auction on Saturday, you know, I'm into it. I'm loving it. And I'm not just going, oh, I wish I could look at that one. Oh, I wish I could look at that one. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, moving on. You guys get it. You guys are book people. That's why I'm here and not on Twitch. Because all the book people are here. Like, but think about it. That's really cool. Like, you can get access to, or at least an audience that is like purely already into the thing that you're in. Like, I don't know if any other platforms really do that specifically for books. Do you know what I'm saying? So I like it. But anyway, I'm shutting up. Parting the Waters. I'm not going to shut up, but you know what I mean. That's one thing I'm probably like not capable of doing. Okay, so Parting the Waters, America in the King Years. So this apparently is like the definitive on the history of this particular time, 1954 to 1963. Even though you would think, is that a little, okay, the King years. Okay, so 68, we're going into Vietnam and all of that. Let's actually ask that question. So we have, what does it say, 1963? You know what, let's not. The Warmth of the Other Suns. Let's look up Isabel Wilkerson, Eyes on the Prize by Juan Williams. Bearing the Cross, Pulitzer Prize winning biography, long regarded as the most authoritative works. Let's look up that one. What happens if I just click this? Oh, look at this. Okay, so here's Bearing the Cross by David Garrow. That's what that looks like. Let's see if there's a value associated with it. Good song. What a great song for what we're looking up. Bearing the Cross, Garrow. Bearing the Cross. So another thing that I think, hey, good morning, Sam. What's up, friend? Another thing I think that's kind of really important, because a lot of us are sellers on this platform, right? A lot of us are out, and if we're not sellers, we're collectors. We're all out there in the wild, as I call it, trying to find books. And a lot of times, like we're scanning, we need things in our brain that kind of that make us stop in a place when we're scanning. So learning about the books and what's out there and who wants what and why, helps us save the books. I believe that every book needs saving. Don't get me wrong, but some books need saving a bit more than other ones. Ooh, this one's got a lot of value. David G. Garrow, Bearing the Cross. Let's go to solds. And as you guys know, on eBay, you always want to look at actual sold prices because that's when money actually is exchanged hands. Okay, so we got the Easton Press, Bearing the Cross. Let's get a little synopsis on this. Bearing the Cross, Martin Luther King Jr. and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference is a 1986 biography by David Garrow, Modern American Civil Rights Movement, about Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. It is widely regarded as the definitive scholarly work on King's life, winning the 1987 Pulitzer Prize and the RFK, the good RFK, the one right now, not a fan, book. That's another rabbit trail. So the scope and content book follows King's public career from the Montgomery bus boycott, which it was awesome, through his actual assassination in 68, placing equal emphasis on the work of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, 700 interviews, so on and so forth. Let's see. We got the idea of what that's about. So I don't think the first editions, this is your first edition, first print. This is what it looks like. So that's a $20 bill. I mean, it needs to be saved just to save it, but $20 bill by Morrow. It's always, when I come across that publisher with that logo, I usually stop and look that one up if I'm not already familiar with it. Just, one of the fastest ways to parse data when you're out in the wild is publisher as well. Because Morrow, and with that logo, it's usually, that's going to be a first edition. And again, especially if I haven't seen it. So, all right, moving on. Let's go back over Cha. Let's look up James Baldwin. James Baldwin is a huge, huge name in the space. Let's see what all stuff he has. James Baldwin. Let's go to books and magazines, narrow that down. Here we go. Let's go to solds. We'll actually probably go to Terapeak as well. Let's look at this. And then we will go in. Let's go highest first. Woohoo! There you go. That's juicy. Look at this bad boy. Holy smokes. That's $3,000 book alert. What's up, folks? For people coming in and out, I know this is a totally weird way to use whatnot. I'm a weird guy. This is what we're doing. I like to look shit up. We will do this more and more often in different varieties and different scopes, but I'll probably bring in the whole shop so you guys can kind of look when I'm rambling. But this is what I imagine if I actually had a physical bookstore, what my life would actually be like. So anyway, so I have never seen this cover. James Baldwin, One Day When I Was Lost. Let's see what that's about. One Day When I Was Lost by James Baldwin. What's that about? even though, like, you can probably guess just based. One Day When I Was Lost is a screenplay by James Baldwin based on Malcolm X and the life of Malcolm X. It's somewhat unusual because it's not a novel and not a conventional biography. It's Baldwin's dramatic interpretation of Malcolm X's life. I've never seen this. A scenario based on Alex Haley's The Autobiography of Malcolm X, which is another famous book. Here's your James Baldwin signature. Huge. So $2,000 book or $3,000, what is it? $3,000 book, Vagabond Books. That's hot. All right, what's this one? James Baldwin, Blues for Mr. Charlie. So this is going to, so just by virtue of his signature being this valued, like it's worth picking up every single James Baldwin book just to look into it and see if it's a random signature in there. Can you give me a little bit of background on James Baldwin? Yeah, let's just leave it there and see what it gives us. What's up, folks? We're learning today. Rabbit trails. Were we on this one? Nope. There we go. It says James Baldwin, he did pass in 1987, so those older books, was one of America's most influential writers, essayists, and public intellectuals. I actually was already aware of James Baldwin. If you have an opportunity, 100% suggest going on YouTube and just type in James Baldwin and listen to some of the interviews that he's given and stuff. Like, good shit. Although he's often associated with the civil rights movement, he resisted being labeled solely as a civil rights writer. He saw himself first as a writer trying to tell the truth about America. Amen. Born in Harlem. Oh, he actually left America and went to Paris. Can't blame him. Voracious reader, it says, was mentored by teachers who recognize his literary. Makes sense. If he's such an eloquent writer, a lot of times that comes not only from talent, but from exposure to books over a long period of time. You can't help but read Faulkner 72 times and not pick up a little bit of his, his tempo and his timbre and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Here's my cup. My cup today. Number one reader from the St. Louis, I'm trying to go slow because I don't want to spill my coffee everywhere, which I will totally do. St. Louis County Library. Support your local libraries, team. In 1948, so this has been 3 years after World War II ended, at age 24, young man, Baldwin moved to Paris. He later said he needed distance from America's racism and from the expectations on black writers to find his own voice. He spent much of the rest of his life living in France, though he returned frequently to the United States during the civil rights era. Focusing only on politics, Baldwin examined how prejudice affects people's inner lives. So Go Tell It on the Mountain, Notes of a Native Son. I actually think I have a copy of that in the buy nows right now. Giovanni's Room, Fire Next Time. He knew and interacted with many major figures, MLK, Malcolm. I don't know who this is. Who's Medgar Evers? Medgar Evers. Sorry, rabbit trail. American civil rights leader who became the first field secretary of the NAACP in Mississippi. Okay. Dedicated his career to challenging Jim Crow segregation, my man. Okay, cool. So what's Blues for Mr. Charlie about? Let's find that out. I'm going to pull that up so we can look at that cover, check out the signature. $1,600 book, folks. Like, you know what I mean? So don't sleep on these. Also, this is from 1964. It's not going to have a barcode. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is another example of one of those books that scanners probably won't take the time to look up. You know what I'm saying? And they sure as shit don't open up that. And again, I'm not disparaging scanners. It's just how their business model is. You know what I'm saying? When I say scanners, I mean the people who just go boop, boop, boop on the back of the books, relying on Amazon or so. I love scanners. You guys are saving books too. More power to you, but this is just one of your blind spots. That's all I'm trying to say. So please don't take offense. I'm actually going tomorrow to a scanner place to sort through their pre-scanned books. Maybe I'll find this one. Anyway, let's see what this one's actually about. Blues for Mr. Charlie. What is Blues for Mr. Charlie about? Mine has cats all over it. Awesome. I'm sorry. I apologize if that came in a while ago on the comment there. Blues for Mr. Charlie so he wrote a lot of plays. Okay. Blues for Mr. Charlie is a 3-act play by James Baldwin about racist murder and the failure of justice in the American South during the Civil Rights era. The play was inspired by the real life of Emmett Till. And that is an incredibly sad story, man. If you guys don't know the story of Emmett Till, like, I won't go into it here. It's kind of sad. I mean, it's super sad and it's violent and it's terrible. And it was really, really like a key, like galvanizing moment. Basically, this kid did something real innocuous, something that if it were to happen now, like no one would even blink twice. But they killed this kid for it. You know what I'm saying? And it was in a violent, nasty way. You know, like you can't other people to a point where they lose their humanity, because then once an othered people, whether it be African Americans in the United States, whether it be Gazans over in Israel, like the amount of atrocity and horror that it can only be done to another person once you no longer see that thing as a human is despicable. So that's why whenever you see the dehumanization of any kind anywhere, even your enemies, quote unquote, you should nip that shit in the butt. You know what I'm saying? Because bad shit happens otherwise. And then you got it sometimes. Anyway, I'll leave that thought in my head. Let's get back over to this one. I get fired up. We're in a dangerous time right now, and especially with America has concentration camps, and it's just we've forgotten who we are to a certain extent. What is this? This is like a magazine. What is that? Is it signed? Is that why? Black Issue, Vogue, 1972. James Baldwin, Miles Davis. Okay, so is he in here? Oh, that he is in here, looking all fly. That's him there. There you go, folks. Don't sleep on the magazines. Holy shit. Wow. Things you would never expect. Holy smokes. How's your wife? She's struggling. Boo the Book Dragon asked, how is my wife's hand doing? For those that don't know, a couple of days ago, my wife got pretty viciously bit by our elder cat. Both my cat and my wife, their immediate safety is fine. My elder cat has some health issues, has a seizure every now and then. My wife happened to be holding the cat or lifting the cat when that happened, bit the fuck out of her hand. We knew that cat bites normally get infected, and we were prepared to deal with the infection. But apparently with the depth of the bite and the placement of the bite, there's a good chance her tendons and ligaments got infected. On top of just the vicious cat bite itself. So she had like infection, like doing the streaks and stuff. So we took her to emergent care. They wanted to send her immediately to the emergency room, but my wife you have to know my wife. She can talk anybody into anything, man. I'm telling you. She did not want to go to the emergency room, so they didn't send her. So she convinced them to just pump her full of antibiotics, send her home with some, a prescription and call it. They were only willing to do that if she promised to come back and get checked out. And we kept that promise, and I'm thankful that we did. She ultimately did end up going to the emergency room yesterday, which is why I keep moving things around. She got another round of antibiotics. They actually had to cut it and drain it. I know TMI. And then today we have, after the show, actually, I'm going to a hand doctor to manage the infection and to see what kind of tendon and ligament damage. So she's fucked up. She got fucked up, no lie. But I mean, I laugh, but to stop from crying. I'm actually quite stressed out. My dude is a hospital, 15 years. She needs to see a hand surgeon. She's probably gonna need. Yep. That's probably where we're at. She and we're learning that more and more. Again, we understood that cat bites are bad. I've had a cat bite. She's had other cat bites. Just we've done a lot of and it's not ever been this bad. So she's doing okay now. She's in okay relatively. We have the appointment. So yeah. Update. And I'm actually going to come back and do another show after we get back from the doctor. So if you come join me in the 2:00 today, where I'll have more auctions and stuff, I'll give you an update on what the hand doc says. Totally fine with her taking antibiotics, whatever. I'm not going to lie, I was a little scared. She was looking funky, going septic. You know what I'm saying? So take cat bites seriously, team. Slow and steady, hang in there. She's in good spirits. You can't keep this woman down. She's already gone through 8 brain surgeries. So she's actually pissed off because she's not bouncing back like she does. She's like, I've survived all this and this is fucking me up. Yeah. My wife, like, she's a pistol, man. Like, anyway. I can't, I had to like use like my like husband. I don't invoke husband powers very often, but I had to kind of like, no, we need to like, we need to go. Like, that looks terrible. You look terrible. I love you, but go. So, but she is who she is. She's strong. She's one of the only few people that, because I have a strong personality as well. And one of the reasons why I love her so much is because that when the moment calls for it, her personality can become like how the Grinch's heart got 10 times bigger. Her personality can just, and she's the only person who's really ever put me in my place. And I appreciate that. So I married her. I showed her. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah, I will let you guys know what happens after the appointment. I expect her to have a few steps along this path. And I tell you what, I could tell the cat kind of feels bad. Like, I think the cat, like, I might be like anthropomorphizing the cat or whatever the term is for it. But like the cat feels bad. Like, I know the cat, not a mean bone in his body. He was a rescue. And so anyway, another country, first edition, no printing sign. That's what's up with that. I appreciate you asking. Let's look up another country. This one might be James Baldwin. This ended up being a James Baldwin show. Oops. James Baldwin's. What was the one we were just looking at? Yeah, but I shudder to think, had we let that infection go on like a day or two without more antibiotics, how worse off she'd be right now. Like, definitely go get cat bites checked out, friends. Go get your antibiotics. Don't fight it. What's that about? So, learned that one the hard way, we did, but that's all right. Sometimes that's how you learn things. But as I always say, if the world's going to teach you a tough lesson and kick the shit out of you through that process, because let's be honest, sometimes life lessons, like, if you can learn the lesson with just a few bumps and scrapes, like, that's a win. The trick is, don't learn the lesson twice, because life will teach you repeatedly. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try to only make them once. We will never make this mistake again. So anyway, Another Country is one of James Baldwin's most ambitious and controversial novels. It's less a civil rights novel than a literary exploration of race, love, sexuality, and identity in the late 1950s New York City. Okay, so it seems like basically like anything James Baldwin you're going to want to pick up. Definitely. Ooh, this is not signed. This is just a first print. Let's look at this. This is kind of the stuff, like, I think you'd be more likely to find something like this than you're going to find something signed. And this, like, if you're scanning stuff fast, this is something you'd miss. And again, no barcode on it at all. So this is nice to see. This is kind of what I was hoping to kind of bump into. Giovanni's Room. Look at that. Is that a Modern Library logo? Is that what that is? I don't know. What is it? Oh, Dial Press. Okay. So there you go. That's a $600, $400 first edition first print. What's this one? Giovanni's Room. And of course, these are like East. Oh, this is cool. Don't sleep on this stuff either, guys. One of the things that I really like about like learning and at least glancing at covers is you'll get to a point where you've seen the cover so often, you can see it from across the room. And then when you see a title that has an art that you've not seen before, like, you immediately know that's something different. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is a first edition. Was this originally released? This might actually be the true first, because he lived in Paris, right? Let's find out. Giovanni's Room, first edition, was released where? And that's another thing about books too, is that, you can have a first American edition, you can have a first UK edition. Like, the famous example, of course, is Harry Potter, right? The first edition is not an American book. She's from across the pond, so the first edition is a UK edition, right? And it's actually called Philosopher's Stone. You know what I'm saying? So same kind of thing here. This might actually be see what's called the true first, what actually came out first. The true first edition of Giovanni's Room was actually published in London, not the States. Very cool. British edition is considered true first. Why was it published in Britain first? Giovanna's Room tells a story of an American man living in Paris, James Baldwin, who falls in love with another man. Was James Baldwin gay? Was James Baldwin gay? Yes, I learned something every day. I had no idea. Apparently, I need to listen to more of his interviews. Had no idea. Baldwin's American publisher had concerns about the book's commercial prospects and a potential impact. Makes sense why he also wanted to leave the United States. Probably was for his skin color and his sexuality. Baldwin refused to alter the novel, believing it was essential to write it as he intended. I did not. I had no fucking idea. Holy smokes. It was ultimately published first in the UK and then in the US later that same year. Wow. Baldwin was open. More sexuality informed much of his writing at a time when being openly gay could seriously damage a writer's career, and it absolutely could. I was raised by a single mom, and due to that, I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, which are the same age, maybe a little younger than James Baldwin would be. And my parents are passed. My grandparents are passed as well. But they were both women. I had a grandma and I had a Aunt Judy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and they used to tell me all the time of what it was like growing up and how, people would call them deviants. And like, it's not like, and still now there's a lot of discrimination, but now it's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That gives context. Yeah. Heather, he was not in the right country, unfortunately. And that bums me out about America. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, but we're not free, are we? Like, we're not free. We're not free to be who we are, what we want. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a lie. It's propaganda. I wish it were free. I'm in love with the idea that is. I'm less in love with the actual reality. Do you know what I'm saying? I talk a lot of shit on the United States. I do, because I want it to be the ideal it's set for itself. You know what I'm saying? The expectation that it's set for itself. I'd like it to meet that expectation. So people get mad at me when I point out where it falls short. But like, this is what I'm talking about. This dude had to fucking leave. He's one of the most brilliant minds ever. So it makes me wonder, especially right now in the current environment that we're creating through concentration camps, kicking everybody who's not white out, so on and so forth. Like, what other magnificence are we making leave? Because we can't meet the standards that we said we were. It's like the height of hypocrisy, and it drives me nuts. Anyway, I want to fix it. Why don't you leave the country? No, I want to fix it. And unfortunately, like, Mr. Baldwin was able to leave. I couldn't leave it if I wanted to. I ain't got no money. Notes of a native. Anyway, enough about that. Here's another first edition. That definitely recontextualizes a lot of stuff. I mean, and it gives it, in my opinion, more weight. Because like you said, he was double-edged sword. So there's your first edition for Native Son. I wonder if this is actually a true first. Let's find out. What does... too many buttons. What does the true first of Native Son look like? I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and listening to my rants. Well, this is going to be for YouTube. I'm literally, right after this is over, I'm going to cut, print, and put it right up. I'm just as it is. So mistakes, stutters, and, rants and all. If you meant Notes of a Native Son, I did. Apologize, Mr. AI. Beacon Press. So this is the first edition. So that's cool. Okay, cool. Learning something every day. Avedon. Ooh, Avedon. Oh, this is cool. Avedon, Richard Avedon is his name. He was a extremely famous photographer, is who Richard Avedon was. So let's see what this is all about. Book was designed. Let's see. You didn't give me any photos? Come on, eBay person. All right. Let's go deeper. I want to see what the inside of this book looks like. Take photos of the inside of the books. If you got 12 photos to work with and you're selling me a $300 book, I want 12 photos or 8 photos on whatnot. All right, let's look at this one. You know what I'm saying? Like, ah. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, there's... All right. This is very Avedon-y. Only just the one photo, huh? All right. I need to get a copy of this, and then we'll... My Lord. eBay people, get it together. Once I'm going to find a copy of this eventually, and then I promise you, when I do, we'll open it up, and we'll flip through each page together. Okay, there we go. Who's these people? They look happy. Okay, cool. Very neat. I like it. I like it. Let's go back over here. Let's hit back button. So guys, I'm probably gonna be wrapping up pretty soon. I'm gonna try to keep these relatively short to kind of to be able to do a lot more of them. This was just gonna be a quick dive into what we could find and where we end up. Here's a good one. Price of the ticket collected. This is relatively newish. Let's see what that looks like. Hopefully you got something from this. I know this was this is always unscripted. We never know quite what we're gonna learn when we learn it, but we learned a few things. Some first editions, and I find these all the time. Like these editions here, these paperbacks all of the time. I find this every now and again. I think maybe once or twice. All right, let's actually look up one more author. We kind of went on a James Baldwin. Let's ask it this: if you had to recommend to me, the book guy, one civil rights book to take with me on a deserted island, what book would that be and why? Same question to the audience. Let's discover something. Knowing what you've been asking me about, I'd recommend The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. If I could pick only one civil rights book for a deserted island, this would be it. It's timeless, short but incredibly dense, beautifully written, and it isn't simply history. For history, I would do Parting the Waters, which we did kind of look up. And apparently that's like the definitive novel on like 52 to 62 or whatever it said. Autobiography of Malcolm X and Alex Haley, very famous. I actually have two copies of that right now. But if the challenge is one book to look, Fire Next Time. Okay, well, what's that about? What is that about then? And then let's look up Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. Let's see what a first edition looks like. Okay, is this No Dust Jacket? So here's one, 1963. I do not know if this is supposed to come with a dust jacket. There we go. Okay, let's make those photos a little bigger so you guys can see. There you go, eBay person. Oh, so dial press. A lot of dial press. That's good to know. So don't ever sleep on the dials. So this came out a little bit later on, 1963. So dial press is going to be your first edition. Let's see this one. I really like this artwork. Look at this. Man, I love me some cool vintage paperbacks, man. Some of the coolest collections I walk into to help save, vintage paperbacks. And there's and people like, it's weird. Like, and I don't know if you guys do this. I don't do this because I really like vintage paperbacks. But you like, people's eyes just go right over the paperbacks. Whenever you're in a thrift store or whatever and you think that the items have been really picked over and you lose heart that you're going to find something good, go to the mass markets, man. A lot of people sleep on them. Not everybody. It depends on your area, but whew. So Fire Next Time, there's your spine. So like look at that. Like if you don't know who James Baldwin is, like right off the gate, you're going to sleep on that, you know? And as much as you would hope everyone everywhere would know who James Baldwin is, that's just not the case. Do you know what I'm saying? So, which you know, it's not great. So is this, okay, this is 9th printing. This should be, if it's a 9th printing, this should still be dial press. Let's confirm. And I wonder if the dust jacket is the same. Yep, dial press. I wonder, let's see what it says on the info. Okay, so this makes sense. So super popular book if they're already doing 9 printings. I mean, it wasn't his first book. So I guess that's probably what the dust jacket actually looks like. So good to know. And again, if you don't know what this is kind of about, I mean, it's a very plain cover. Like people say, don't judge a book by its cover, but that's literally what the cover is for. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand it's a book club. Okay. I see. That might not be the cover then. No, it has to be so the covers will be the same, but the biggest difference when you look into it, the non-book club will have the price in the corner. This right here. That's how you're going to know. The book club is not going to have that. And then when you go to the info page, it's not going to have anything like this. It's going to say like Boar's Eye or something like that. Let's make sure I'm telling you the truth. So that's a printing, and here's the book club. So it looks very similar. And if you held them both together, usually the book club feels a bit chintzier because that's kind of what they were all about, making book. Yeah, see the difference? That's the difference. So if you guys are out in the wild and you see an old book that has a number in the cover, it's not always a first edition, but that is a strong indicator. And generally, not always, the first edition, if there is financial value to be had or collectability, it's going to be more in your first editions and your book clubs for obvious reasons. Exceptions to that rule, because sometimes the book club is the first edition, but that's a rabbit trail we will not go down today. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of you guys know this. I know I'm being pedantic, but yeah, some people might not. Okay, so that's that. I think we're gonna wrap it up after that, team. I'm gonna get to raid somebody, but let me turn this off here. If you're watching this on YouTube, I really appreciate you swinging by, and if you got this far, fantastic. Join me on Whatnot so we can have like a conversation, and I can show you some other cool books or something. So